that who you elect to the House of Assembly will determine the success of any government that this country will ever have to serve on its behalf. And so therefore, when you go to the polls on election day in St. Philip, the choices are clear. Sonia Brown, X. Endarware, X. John King, X. You do that, ladies and gentlemen, and you will set us on a path to victory. Because the three persons you have representing you in St. Philip, they're useless. And each of them hold a portfolio that is important to the mechanics of the working of the economy of Barbados. Very important. Now, we are in a crisis in Barbados, an economic crisis. Ladies and gentlemen, this is no longer time for learning on the job. The Barbados Labour Party is ready under the leadership of Mia Amor Motley to rescue this country. Mia has assembled a team of varying talents, of which I am a part, and we shall lead each and every Barbadian out of this mess. But before we get there, I want you guys to put up that slide for me, please. Because I want everybody to understand without a shadow of a doubt what has happened to Barbados over the last 10 years. Now, if you can direct yourself to the screen over to my left, which would be your right. I want each and every one of you to look at this chart and take note of the differences with respect to performance as far as the economy is concerned from this chart. Because there's a lot of talk about facts. But when you look at this chart, ladies and gentlemen, these are the facts. This chart starts in 1976. And you will see on the chart that at that time, the Barbados economy was just over $5 billion. The part in red was the Barbados Labour Party's contribution to the economy during its tenure from 1976 to 1986. And I want you to understand that during that time under Tom Adams, that every single Barbadian was better off by some $30,000 approximately under the Barbados Labour Party. The government changed in 1986, and you can see the chart. It rose, but then it started to crash under Mr. Sandiford. And during that time, you can see the shift in the base ever so slightly. And even though Mr. Sandiford's tenure was chaotic at best, every Barbadian was better off by some $16,000. And I want you to understand why these things happen. After 1994, the election, the Barbados Labour Party led this country to a height that you can see on that chart there. Ladies and gentlemen, citizens, every single Barbadian was better off by almost $60,000 at the end of the last administration of the Barbados Labour Party. These are not numbers to scoff at, because each and every one of us felt it. This country was being run well, governed well. And in the last 10 years, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see at the far end of the chart there, because this is important, because they want to tell you that better cannot be done. They're trying to convince you that this is the best that we could do. The last 10 years, ladies and gentlemen, Every single Barbadian is worse off by almost $22,000. Every single Barbadian. So I want you to understand clearly, and John made the point, there is no comparison between us and them. Our mandate is to deliver a better life for our people. Our economic policies have always delivered a better life for our people. And I'm here to say to you tonight, we are ready to serve. We are ready to lift this country. And under the leadership of Mia Amor Motley, Barbados shall rise again. So as Stalin said, Barbados, we will make it, but we have to try. And nobody can convince me that we can never do better. Because so long as we invest in young Barbadians consistently, and we give them the opportunities to fulfill their dreams, their aspirations, and their goals, this country will always rise. But these fellas, over the last 10 years, have snuffed out the dreams of the ordinary Barbadian, the young people of this country. But we say no more. No more. We are Barbados. Simple as that. We lead the Caribbean. We do not follow. We punch above our weight, not wallow in self-pity. But let me circle back round to St. Philip, because we're here after all. And despite the numbers that you see on the screen there, I want you to understand something. You see transportation? You see transportation? An economy cannot grow unless you can move people and things around the economy seamlessly. And you have a member of parliament. All of those things, yes, sir. A member of parliament under whom our transportation system is at its worst ever. 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 He got to go. You see water? You see water? If your citizens cannot get a clean glass of water, ladies and gentlemen, your economy will not grow. So he got to go too. Now, sometime last week, the governor of the central bank said that we have 6 weeks of reserves left. 6.5, sorry. The government then produced a budget saying that they're going to run a fiscal deficit of $1.5 billion approximately. Now, all of these things matter, and they affect confidence in the economy. Because without confidence, nothing will happen as seamlessly as it ought to. So here we now have a situation where there's no confidence in the economy. And now we have a bill that has been passed in the House suggesting that we are going to have curfews in this country. I want you to understand something very carefully in what I'm saying here. Nobody will invest in their country that already has low confidence, and now you're talking about having curfews in Barbados. Now tell me, if you're going to shut down my business because it's within the confines of a curfew, who will invest? Who? Ladies and gentlemen, these fellas that represent you in St. Philip, they have to go. Because they do not understand that whilst the economy works as the interrelation between people and the services that people consume, the reality is that there are some soft things that are important. We call it the soft infrastructure, which is the things like the water and the sewage, things like transportation, and certainly crime. And these three men masquerading as represented in St. Philip are all responsible for the state of affairs in Barbados right now. Ladies and gentlemen, this week, the government will attempt to pass estimates in the House of Barbados. You can imagine that? 23 days before the Parliament dissolves, and these fellas looking for 3 more months to hold on. And I want you to understand something. This country is in a crisis. And when Parliament dissolves and they're looking to hold on for these 3 months, the only way that this country could respond to a crisis is if it has a parliament with which to work. And why is this important? Because consistently we have seen that the members of the Democratic Labour Party do not care about the ordinary Barbadian. They do not care. And if this country is in a crisis, why would you, at this point in time, not want to have a parliament that can address the concerns of the people of Barbados? Ladies and gentlemen, these are serious times. Very, very serious times. This is not time to wait for an election. This is not time to play around hoping to sign a few contracts and get a few extra months' pay for 16 fellas. It is wrong. In order for Barbados to recover, and recover quickly, we need the election to be called and give the people an opportunity to vote for every single candidate of the Barbados Labour Party to turn this country around. Because make no mistake, we are the only choice. None of the others, including the Democratic Labour Party, the UPP, Solutions Barbados, none of them, they do not have the capacity to lead this country. Let me repeat that. They do not have the capacity to lead this country. Our economic situation is dire. But I want all of you here tonight to understand one thing. The Barbados Labour Party will open the doors of opportunity for every single Barbadian. And I know that as long as we do that, and you walk hand in hand with us, we are going to turn the fortunes of Barbados around. We are going to put young people back to work. This economy is going to recover. And I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that Barbados will rise again, 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 and again. Ladies and gentlemen, good night. God bless you. Thank you very much. Good night.
We will make it. You see why I say to you, you have to vote for Straughn. The Democratic Labour Party has governed or tried to govern this country over the last 5 years without anyone with sound economic knowledge. So that's why they have failed miserably. So again, I say to you that the Barbados Labour Party